Ukraine's $500 DIY drone destroys $15 million Russian MI-8 in historic first. Today, a low-visibility morning in northeast Ukraine produced one of the most asymmetric engagements of the war, as a $15 million Russian Mi-8 helicopter, carrying an entire squad of assault troops, was eliminated by a Ukrainian FPV drone assembled from hobby-grade components worth under $500. The result became the first confirmed FPV-versus-helicopter kill in military history, executed through acoustic triangulation, fog-based concealment, and a perfectly calculated intercept. Ukraine's operators used mathematics and improvisation to neutralize a machine hundreds of times more expensive. This engagement unfolded through a sequence of events that began with its first operational moments. At 6:02 a.m., the Russian Mi-8 helicopter lifted off from a forward operating base in northeast Ukraine, moving toward Ukrainian defensive positions with a full squad of assault troops on board. The flight details were routine: low altitude, following terrain contours, and avoiding radar exposure. It was a standard infiltration pattern used often during early morning troop movements. However, the Russian crew did not indicate that 3 Ukrainian FPV operators had already been in position since 4 a.m., concealed inside dense fog, preparing their improvised drones. Each fitted with a PG-7 type warhead and configured specifically for high-risk interception missions against low-flying aircraft. Those operators had been waiting for one alert. When their phones vibrated simultaneously, it signaled that Ukrainian partisan spotters had successfully updated the acoustic network, an array of low-power sensors scattered across the region weeks earlier. The operators were strategically spaced along 3 potential approach paths, one along the MO3 highway, one near northern farmlands, and a third near a southern river valley. The reason was simple: if the helicopter passed through any of those corridors unchallenged, the assault troops would reach Ukrainian defensive lines and force a close-range engagement. Stopping the helicopter before it delivered its cargo was the priority. The acoustic detection system itself was an example of Ukrainian adaptation. Using modified smartphones with external microphones, each sensor communicated over low-power LoRa networks, capable of transmitting data packets across 10 kilometers. The sensors hid in everyday objects, trash bins, broken signs, small rocks, drawing energy from solar-charged batteries that allowed them to operate silently for weeks. Each sensor recorded sound arrival times to the millisecond, making triangulation possible because the speed of sound, 343 ms, allowed precise location measurement. The Mi-8's twin turboshaft engines produced rotor frequencies in the 20-40 Hz range, uniquely identifiable even through fog or tree cover. At distances up to 5 kilometers, the system could track helicopter movement within a 50-meter error margin. When the first sensor detected rotor noise, a distinctive spike around 35 Hz, 2 others validated it almost instantly. Confirming the track, the MO3 route operator launched his spotter drone. The northern operator checked his acoustic feed and found nothing yet on his corridor. The southern operator, meanwhile, began running intercept geometry, speed, distance, predicted path angle, and battery endurance. In these engagements, timing dictated everything. Once the helicopter's true direction became clear, Ukrainian operators would have only seconds to launch and guide their FPVs into effective positions. The Mi-8 pilot, unaware of Ukrainian tracking, navigated using his flight tablet. A temperature inversion that morning had created a layer of warm air above cold air, bending sound downward and increasing travel range. This phenomenon made the helicopter significantly more detectable acoustically, though the Russian crew had little reason to assume they were being tracked by sound rather than radar. The Mi-8 moved at 150 km/h at roughly 40 meters altitude, following roads rather than GPS or radio guidance. Both sides jamming degraded satellite positioning to near uselessness, and radio emissions risked triggering Ukrainian air defense systems. Visual navigation was the only safe option. However, as the lead drone operator prepared his primary drone, a Shrike-10 FPV combining Chinese racing parts with a Soviet PG-7M warhead, he encountered a malfunction. The drone refused to arm, and inspection revealed corrosion on the piezoelectric firing connection, caused by humidity over months of storage. Improvised weapons carried such risks by design. Virtually nothing about these drones was mass manufactured. Every solder joint, wire harness, and battery connector depended on field improvisation rather than standardization. Failure was always possible. While he attempted repairs, the Acoustic team updated their plot. Bearing 285 degrees, speed 150, altitude 40. Unexpectedly, the MI-8 left the MO3 corridor and shifted onto a dirt road tracking northwest. The Ukrainians reassessed immediately. The deviation likely resulted from the fog thickening near the river valley, reducing visibility below 60 m. The helicopter had no choice but to remain near the road, which acted as a reference point in near whiteout conditions. Any deviation risked collision with uncharted obstacles like rural power lines. The northern operator moved quickly to reposition for the new intercept prediction. But as he prepared his drone, his controller suddenly powered off. Cold air had drained the battery faster than expected. After swapping in a backup pack insulated with hand warmers, he regained control. His secondary drone had an inferior range and only about 8 minutes of cold battery endurance, with a 1-watt transmitter making its video feed unstable beyond 5 kilometers. Yet reliability mattered more than performance. It was his only working airframe. He reinforced a loose warhead connection with a few drops of superglue. Unlikely to withstand heat for long, but possibly durable enough for one engagement. Meanwhile, the third operator was already airborne, moving toward a predicted intercept point, when his video feed dissolved into grey distortion. At 6:18 a.m, his drone entered fog so dense that both visible and IR wavelengths scattered unpredictably. Droplets even altered sound propagation, creating acoustic shadows that complicated both detection and interpretation. For 90 seconds, he flew blind, relying entirely on compass heading and acoustic team updates. Despite distortions, certain variables remained fixed. The MI-8 could not climb above the fog layer without entering Ukrainian radar coverage. It could not leave the road network without risking collision, and its speed would remain steady under poor visibility. These constants allowed the operators to maintain a predictive model despite environmental disruptions. The lead operator finally abandoned his failing primary drone and launched his backup. Its battery started at 75%, but drained quickly due to cold weather resistance within the LiPo cells. Russian Borisogledsk 2 electronic warfare units detected the drone launches and began sweeping frequency bands. Yet Express LRS, the system used by Ukrainian operators, transmitted through rapid frequency hopping, up to hundreds of channels per second, preventing Russian EW from locking onto a stable signal. Russian EW units saw only scattered spectral echoes, with no stable source they could lock onto for effective jamming. At 6:21 a.m, the MI-8 emerged from the fog precisely where Ukrainian geometry predicted. The spotter drone confirmed visual contact, but pursuit was impossible. The helicopter traveled 150 kilometers per h, while the FPV could sustain roughly 100 kilometers per h. The only viable tactic was interception, placing a drone ahead of the flight path and waiting. At 6:23 a.m, the lead operator's FPV reached the ambush point with 40% battery remaining. He positioned it 5 meters above a field beside the road, conserving power with minimal throttle. The analog 5.8 GHz video feed flickered through static, but maintained lower latency than digital systems, making it more suitable for high-precision intercepts. Every percentage point of battery represented several seconds of flight time, and the operator monitored the countdown carefully. The other two operators hovered in secondary positions. Russian troops at the front line heard faint buzzing, prompting radio warnings. Yet the helicopter continued at its assigned altitude and speed. In heavy fog, the pilot's attention remained on maintaining visual contact with the road. Abrupt altitude changes risked losing reference points. Although warnings reached Russian EW units, nothing indicated to the pilot that a drone hovered directly ahead. The acoustic sensors then registered a rapid increase in rotor noise amplitude, indicating the MI-8 was closing. Its rotor pulsed at roughly 192 revolutions per minute, consistent with MI-8 acoustic profiles. Triangulation narrowed its probable location to within 50 m. Running without lights or radio, the aircraft reduced exposure, but also decreased situational awareness, leaving it unable to detect the FPV positioned above the roadside. A brief break in the fog allowed sunlight to reflect off the cockpit canopy. That flash provided the final confirmation. The helicopter was 300 meters out, 40 meters altitude, and 10 seconds from passing directly overhead. At 6:24 a.m., the MI-8 crossed the ambush point. The operator immediately pushed the throttle to maximum. The FPV surged upward into the helicopter's rotor wash, encountering violent turbulence. The drone spun in multiple axes, the pilot struggling to correct orientation through a partially degraded feed. Closure rate remained low, approximately 50 km/h, but predictable, allowing continued pursuit in the vertical climb. The second operator monitored the attempt from his drone's camera, prepared to attack if needed. The third remained at a safer distance, recording the engagement. Based on available footage, the Russian crew appeared unaware of the threat. At 6:25 a.m., the FPV made contact with the underside of the MI-8. The PG-7N warhead detonated, forming a shaped charge jet on the order of 8,000 m/s, easily penetrating the helicopter's thin aluminum skin. The detonation breached internal components, disabled structural integrity, and caused immediate loss of lift. The helicopter began a downward trajectory, struck the ground in a nearby field, and ignited upon impact. A sequence consistent with fuel ignition from ruptured tanks and post-impact fire spread. The spotter drone moved in and recorded confirmation of the crash site. Russian EW units detected the MI-8's emergency signal only after the aircraft hit the ground. By then, Ukrainian operators had already retrieved equipment and relocated to avoid counter-battery fire. In total, Russia lost a $15 million helicopter, along with all onboard systems and personnel, to a drone costing under $500. In body-level financial terms, roughly $14 million represented the aircraft platform and avionics suite, while approximately $1 million accounted for troop equipment and onboard mission gear. This imbalance demonstrated how inexpensive FPVs can neutralize high-value assets when combined with precise planning and environmental advantage. The operation was not a stroke of luck. It was a coordinated integration of acoustic localization, improvised engineering, environmental exploitation, and operator discipline built through repeated simulation and field training. Ukraine's approach illustrated an emerging paradigm. Low-cost drones, when guided by mathematics and real-time data, can threaten traditional air assets previously considered relatively safe from ground-launched munitions. This engagement resulted in the first verified FPV interception of a military helicopter, inflicting approximately $15 million in losses through a system assembled for a fraction of that cost. The remaining question is how many additional Russian aircraft will ultimately be lost to weapons built not in factories, but in improvised workshops and garages. What do you think? Share your thoughts below.